Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to sunny Orlando, Florida. And today we are sitting in Epcot. And if you notice, there's a monorail right here behind me. If you've never been to Orlando, you would love to get on the monorail. It's actually not run by anything except magnets. So it doesn't create any pollution. It is super efficient, and there's zero fuel being used to run people through Walt Disney World on the monorail. It was one of Walt Disney's first inventions. He thought of this idea for cities and towns to use as a way of public transportation that would kind of run above the city roads and to cut down on pollution. So wow, look how amazing that was back in the 50s and 60s when he was thinking up all of these things. He was already so above his time, and he's a very interesting man. So if you've never read anything about Walt Disney and some of his inventions and how he viewed the world, you know, Epcot is a great place to visit if you ever get to go there. But if not, just grab a book. I'm sure there's something in Epcot on the brain. I'm sure there's something in Epic that you could read about Walt Disney and some of his inventions. And Epcot is a Disney park that explores all the different things that we want to do with our Earth and really celebrates our world. So enough about that. Let's jump into some fact families. Today we're going to be working on place value and some numbers with fact families and missing numbers and unknowns. So make sure you have your paper and your pencil. You're also going to need 2 worksheets. You're going to need this first worksheet. It's missing numbers, page 1 of 2. And you'll see that it has a little house at the bottom, and the number is 141. And then we're going to move right over to the second one. And as you can see here, it is also missing numbers, and it's page 2 of 2. And then at the bottom, it is page 142. So if you don't have these worksheets, you can just grab some paper and pencil and follow along with us. I'm going to have both paper, pencil, and my worksheets. All right, so let's get started. So I'm going to make this larger for us. And as you can see, we're starting right here with our missing numbers. And if you're just taking a second to grab your worksheets, then you know, or you have noticed, that we will be working with some fact families. So every good lesson has a target. So today our lesson is going to be, our target is going to be, I can solve for unknowns by using fact families. Now remember, if at any time you need to slow the video down, feel free to tap your screen on your iPad or press the space bar on your computer and pause the video so that you can write down your I can statement. Okay? I can solve for unknowns by using fact families, period. And I'm going to put my little target right here. All right, so my first one is just an example. So I'm going to use this example to kind of get my brain familiarized back with what we're supposed to be doing. So I'm looking at my triangle. I see that I have the number 12, a number 7, and a number 5. We know that 5 plus 7 is 12, so we can see that here. And then we also know that we can go this way. 7 plus 5 is 12. That fact right there. And then we can go with subtracting. 12 minus 5 is 7, and 12 minus 7 is 5. So just to warm up our brains, to get back in the habit of using our fact families for unknowns, we're going to start with this first block here. And so you can see we have a triangle that has the numbers 4 and 8, and then it has these blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4 gray, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 white. So that's where these numbers 4 and 8 are coming from. So I'm going to use my paper, so just in case there are friends who don't have their packet, or maybe you already worked ahead, this is a great opportunity for you to continue your learning by following along on the paper. So I'm going to start out with my triangle, 4 and 8, and I know that I had 4 gray, and then I'm just going to switch colors here, and feel free to grab colored pencils or crayons or markers, whatever you have to help you, and then I'm going to add on and make 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I know that I have 4 plus 8, and that equals, I'm going to count starting with my 8, and I'm going to say 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 4 plus 8 is 12. I know you guys already knew that. I'm going to keep going. And so if I know that 4 plus 8 equals 12, then 8 plus 4 equals 12. So I'm going to rewrite that fact using the commutative property. 8 plus 4 equals 12. And now I'm going to think about subtracting. So if you took away one of the add-ins, then you would be left with the opposite add-in. So if I took away these 8, I would only have 4. And if I took away these 4, I would have 8. So we can do the same thing. 12 minus 4 is 8. 12 minus 4 equals 8. And flip it. 12 minus 8 equals 4. Yes? Okay. All right, so if you're following along on the worksheet, the next problem has 4 gray boxes again. So I'm going to do them in blue this time. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm just going to switch out and grab a new color. Let's see, I think I'll go with green. And when I'm counting, I see that we have, oh, I'm sorry. It wasn't just 4. It was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 gray boxes. So I had 4. How many more to make 9? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I have the number 9 for my blue. And then the next one, I see I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 white. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we know that 9 plus 6, or I could think about 10 plus 5, and that's 15. And then I can flip it. 6 plus 9 is equal to 15. And then we know that if we have 15 and we took away those green, then we would only be left with that blue, number 9. So we would have 15 minus 6 is equal to 9, and 15 minus 9 is equal to 6. And if you'd like, you can draw your triangle just to make that representation for you. You have a 15, you have 9, and you have 6. Okay, so if you're following along on your worksheet, then you can go ahead and you can solve this last one on your own. Now we're going to jump into this missing equations. So the first missing equation we have, I'm going to number these just because that's going to keep me a little bit more organized. So feel free to number your paper as well. So I'm going to do 6 plus 7 plus 3. And then our unknown is on this side of the equation. So I'm going to start with this, and I'm going to do what I call a rewrite the problem. So I can see that 7 plus 3 is the same as 10. So I rewrite the problem, and then you guys would say it. Rewrite the problem. It doesn't work the same if we're not in class together, but just go with me. So we have 10, and then we're going to add 6 more, and I know that 10 plus 6 is 16. Very good. I heard someone out there say it. My teacher ears are listening. So 16 is the same as 16. So my missing number was 16. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. So if I was working this on my paper and following along now, I can go here and I could just put in the number 16. Okay, I'm going to go look at this one. This one looks a little bit different because we have a missing number on in a set equation or expression. So I'm going to call that number 2, and I'm going to say 8 plus 1 plus something is equal to 18. So when I use the rewrite the problem strategy, that's really going to help me. So if I think about what is 8 plus 1, everybody says 9. Good job. So I rewrite the problem. 9 plus something is equal to 18. So this is where the fact family part comes in. So I can take my 18. I know if I had my triangle, I would have 18 at the top, and then I would have 9 over here, and voila. 9 plus 9 is 18, or 18 minus 9 is 9. So we could do this plus, minus, and then plus. We know 9 plus 9 is 18. 18 minus 9 equals 9. 18 minus 9 equals 9. So that's how the fact family works to help us do that. Okay, so we're going to do one more like this before we move on to our next challenge. So on number 3, we're going to solve 5 plus something plus 2 equals 13. So I encourage you now to tap your screen and pause, or press the space bar on your computer. Pause your computer and solve for this problem. Okay, I hope you took time to stop and pause. And so now we're going to start this problem. So I'm looking at 5 plus something plus 2. Well, I know that we can add in any order. Everybody just say that. We can add in any order, right? So I'm going to think about this as 5 plus 2. I'm just going to rewrite this as 5 plus 2 plus something. So I didn't change anything in the problem because there was no subtracting, and we can add in any order. That's the commutative property that says we can flip our numbers around and get the same sum. So now I'm going to add 5 plus 2. 5, 6, 7. So I'm going to rewrite the problem. Say it. Rewrite the problem. Yes. And so now I have 7 plus something is equal to 13. And now this problem is starting to make a little bit more sense to my brain because I know my doubles, plus, and minus 1 facts. I know if I have a 13 up here and I have the number 7 here, 7 plus how many more equals 13? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 6. So I'm going to put down my 6 right here, and then I know that 6 plus 7 is 13. I could have also thought about 13 minus 7 is equal to 6, and 13 minus 6 is equal to 7. So this is how fact families can help you. Okay, so if you're following along on your worksheet, now is the time for you to look at this problem right here, and you're going to solve these problems on your own. Now, if you don't have a worksheet, I do encourage you right now to pause your screen and solve 1, 2, 3, and possibly this third one up here on your paper. Okay, hopefully you took a second to pause and solve if you did not have your worksheet with you at home. And if you have your worksheet, now you can look on, we're going to move on to our challenge problems. So I'm going to move to a clean page because if you didn't have a worksheet, you might have used some more space to solve those missing problems. Now we're going to go to the challenge. We're still working on solving for missing numbers. And so my first equation, I'm going to call this, let's see, earlier we said we were on 1, 2, 3. So I'm just going to be trying to be a little bit more organized myself, and I'm going to number this number 4. Now, if you already numbered the other ones on your paper number 4, you make it make sense to you, and that will make your teacher very happy. All right, so we're going to go to number 4, and we're going to do 40 plus 18 plus 23. And so this one is another one that we need to rewrite the problem and solve for this side, which there's no other numbers to add or subtract. So we're not going to have to use fact families on this one. We're just going to get to use place value knowledge. Okay, so I'm going to think about this in expanded form just because I don't have it set up in an algorithm. So I'm going to think about 40 plus a 10 is 50, and 8 more is 58. So I'm going to rewrite the problem as 58 plus 23. And now I'm going to think about 58 plus 2. So I'm actually going to use a think bubble. So in my head, this is how I'm solving this problem. I'm saying 58 plus 2 10s, which is 20. And I'm going to say 58, 68, 78. And now I'm going to take 78 and I'm going to add 3 to it. But instead of just adding 3, I'm going to start by saying 78 plus 2, which I know gets me to the next 10, which is 80. So 78, 79, 80. And then I still had that 1 left over from that 3. So I'm saying 78 plus 1. Uh-oh, not 78. Oopsie. 80 plus 1 is 81. This is why, boys and girls, we should always use pencils. And the only reason I'm using pen is because I want to make it colorful and pretty for you. So we're going to have 81 is our missing equation. Now, if this doesn't really make sense to you and you're like, what is Miss Gerald doing? It makes more sense if I show you in expanded form or if I have place blocks. So if this doesn't make sense to you, then over here on the side, I encourage you to use the algorithm. 58 plus 23. So when we add and subtract, we start in the ones place. So we're going to start in their ones, and we're going to add 8 plus 3. 8, 9, 10, 11. Now an 11 has 1 1 and 1 10. So now I loop that 10 over here, and now I'm thinking about 1 10 plus 5 10s plus 2 10s. I personally like to start with the largest number and then count up. So I'm going to say 5, 6, 7, 8. You might say, Miss Cheryl, why did you mark those out? Because I like to add starting in the biggest number and then counting up on my smaller numbers. Once I've counted that number, I mark them out. And if you notice, I just marked out. I said 5, 6. And then when I went here, I actually used touch math. So I took the number 2 and I said 5, 6, and I said 7, 8. So that's how I got that 8. And then after I made my little dots, I marked it out. When adding many sets of numbers, you're going to have to use a strategy that works for you. It's most important to stay organized and what works for your brain. So you do the strategy that works for you. Okay? So we're at 81. So we're going to go down to number 5 because we are done with the first challenge problem. See? Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. All right, let's move into number 5. On number 5, we're going to add, this one's a little bit more challenging, 60 plus 47 plus an unknown quantity here is the same as 126. So the first thing we need to do is, I heard someone say it, we need to combine 60 and 47 and rewrite the problem. Very good. So I'm going to think about 47 and 60. If I know that 6 tens plus 4 tens is 100, then I can say 100 plus 7. So it's like over here in my brain, I just said 60 plus 40, that's 100. And then 100 plus 7 is 107. Okay? Again, if that doesn't work for you and you don't understand how I'm breaking it apart, I encourage you to use this strategy. Okay, I'm not going to go over that again right now, but use that if you need to. Pause the video. Do what your brain needs to do. All right, so we're going to get 107, and now I'm going to add something to 126. So if I'm using my fact family triangle, I know that my largest quantity is 126. And I know that one of my add-ins is 107. How many more to get to 126? So I can use adding to solve. Adding is pretty easy for most of my friends. And some students find that subtracting, actually just knowing the two numbers and just subtracting them, might be the easiest for them. So because we've done a lot of adding, I am going to show you the subtracting one. So I'm going to take 126 and I'm going to subtract 107. So 6 cannot take away 7. So I'm going to need to use some regrouping. So I'm going to take a 10 from my 20. So I'm going to change my 20 to a 110. And I'm going to add 110 to 6. Now everybody knows 10 plus 6. That's right. 10 plus 6 is 16. So cross out your 6 because now it's the number 16. 16 minus 7, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9. So I just used some dots to help me subtract quickly. So 16 minus 7 is equal to 9. And now I'm going to move over here. 110 minus 0 tens is still 110. And then 100 minus 100 is 0. So my answer would be 19. Now, I personally am always better at adding than I am subtracting. So I'm going to take 107 and I'm going to add 19 just to make sure that I have 126. It's always good to double check. Even adults double check their work. 9 plus 7 is 16. And then I know 1 plus 1 is 2. And one more, 126. So my answer checks. So my missing add-in was 19. Now there's one more challenge problem. It's right here. I'm going to pause this or just hold this here for a second. So if you don't have your worksheet, go ahead and solve this problem right here. I'm going to put it in an orange box for you. So press pause, solve the problem. All right, guys. Hopefully you've had time to solve this problem on your worksheet or on your paper. And now we're going to move into our next problem. So these actually give you some equations that we're matching them to problems. So we're going to look at the first one. The pet shop owner had 14 hamsters. She sold 5 of them on Monday and 3 of them on Tuesday. So she had 14. She took away 5 on Monday and then 3 more on Tuesday. How many hamsters does she have left? So 14 minus 5, I could say 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9. And so then I'm rewriting the problem as 9 minus 3, 9, 8, 7, 6. So my answer is 6 hamsters. So then I could write, she had 6 left. Now, do you have to write the sentence? I know that someone's saying that in their head. No, you do not today. You do not have to write the sentence. However, if you want to go above and beyond, then you can write the sentence. It's always good practice. We're going to look at the next one. There were 12 puppies in the pen. The pet shop owner sold some of them. Now there are 7 puppies in the pen. How many puppies did she sell? So what I forgot to tell you is that if you're using your paper, I just want you to write what I'm writing. So you should have written this if you were just on your own paper, okay? Just write the equations and then rewrite them. And if you want, you can take time to write this. But I know that you're listening and following along, so don't worry about writing the sentence if you don't have time. Okay, let's keep going. So there were 12 puppies in the pen. Sold some of them, so we sold some, and now there are 7. So we have 12 minus something is equal to 7 left. So looking over here, which one of these tells me 12 minus something equals 7? Oh, I see it. 12 minus something is 7. So if we know that our triangle looks like this, and we have a 12 and a 7, 7 plus how many more is equal to 12? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So the answer would be 5. Yes? So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 12 minus 5 must equal 7. So she sold 12, or sold 5. So I could write the sentence here. She sold 5 puppies. I have a puppy. Her name is Annie Pearl, and she's so cute. Okay, boys and girls, so I'm going to ask you to pause the video now if you have not and solve these 2 problems. You can, or these 3, I'm sorry, so there are 3 equations here. You're going to match them. And you can see that I didn't do a very good job of drawing my line. This might be good to use if you are swapping out colors to get a different color to continue this. So pause the video and solve these problems. Okay, boys and girls, now that you've done that, I want you to look at these challenge problems. If you have your worksheet, go ahead and solve them and do your best. If you get stuck, you can ask for help. You can always go to your math Flipgrid and ask your teacher for help, Cheryl for help. You can ask your parents. And if there's one that you are feeling really confident about, share that with me too when you turn in your work this week. So as you finish both of these pages, you're going to take your worksheets and you are going to take them to your Flipgrid, and you're going to take anything that you wrote on your paper, and you are going to show me your amazing work. You're going to make sure that you label these Wednesday. So these are Wednesday's work papers. And that way when you're talking to me about it, you can be like, oh, Miss Gerald, I did this on Wednesday, and then I did this on Wednesday, and I really was feeling great about this problem. Let me tell you how I did it. You'll have 5 minutes to share your thinking with me. So I'm going to put this right back up on the screen. So if you did not have a chance to finish solving, you will have time now to pause the video. All right, boys and girls, I surely miss you, and I care so much about you, and I care about your math practice. So make sure you're working hard and learning a lot. See you tomorrow. Bye.